Hi and hello, football fans, and welcome to the Dave Dameshek football program. Hope all's well wherever you are. We are doing a special episode of the DDFP, but as always, it is presented by McDonald's. Go get yourself some McPick 2 items of your choosing. $2 is all it'll cost you. Do it. Fill your belly up so that your brain is free to think about what's going to go down in Super Bowl 50 when we get out there. We're out here on the fancy stage today. Let's say hello to everybody joining us out here. You know, we have an opportunity to let our hair down a little bit because for the first time, sadly, in 20 weeks or 19 weeks, there isn't football to prepare for this weekend. Right. Save the Pro Bowl, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We have a little bit of
football.
So there is basically no football.
No, it's a football game.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Not for Aaron Rodgers. This poor guy. Prayers go out to Aaron Rodgers, who once again, the chances for this poor guy after the playoffs and before the Pro Bowl keeps getting injured, can't make it to the Pro Bowl. I feel bad for him.
Can we blame this on Olivia Munn? I'm not going to.
No, don't.
I'm not going to.
Let's talk about that. Hey, we hear some voices going on. First, let's say hello. You know them, of course, if you're fans of comedy. If you watch TV at all, they're all over your TV. They have Sklar County, the great podcast, of course, that everybody on this stage has been on at one point or another.
You have not. You're next.
Oh, no, I
need to get on. Two,
all right.
You're on.
Randy and Jason Sklar, what's the poop, fellas? How are you?
We're good. So happy
thrilled
to be here, and you were fantastic on our podcast.
I was, I know.
Very
it was
knowledgeable and same with you, MJD.
I
I know.
Thank you.
I'm excited for this Super Bowl, although I think it's going to be another 52-10 sort of a game, in my opinion. But I'm excited to see it.
Well, first let's say hello to the other fellas. You hear them every week on the DDFP. We're pleased to have them twice this week on the DDFP. First of all, the former Jaguar, the former Bruin, the former Raider, Maurice Jones-Drew. What's the poop, fella?
It was yellow and a little runnies this morning.
Maurice.
What do you mean? He asked the question. I've always been wondering, so I figured I'd answer so he can start asking.
Hey,
Listen,
Maurice right here, no one's impressed.
When you look in the mirror in the morning, do you just say to yourself, 1,606 yards? That's all you do. Do you say that every day to yourself?
No.
1,606
Have you already forgotten about
yards.
that?
Yeah, that's the whole
No,
past.
It's a distant memory?
Oh, yeah.
1,606 yards.
I wake up and I'm like, ugh, and I try to run out a good big fart to get my day started. And then I brush my teeth.
Doubling down there, Maurice.
Yeah, you gotta get your
1,606
Pick two.
yards.
Speak about a pick two.
Let's also say hello to the 12-year veteran of the black and gold. Here he is, everybody. Ike Taylor. What's going down, fella?
He changed the
Yeah, I changed it. What's going down? There, I got my
down.
touch.
What's
Change
going
the
down?
language.
Oh, man.
See a little Bruce Lee going on your T-shirt there, right?
When he was a DJ,
Yeah,
a
I
lot
was
of
about
people
to
know
say
he's a
something
DJ.
on that what's going down, but I'm good.
That's for the best. Let's move forward. So, yeah, first issue, you mentioned Broncos and Panthers, little curveball thrown by Denver right out of the gate. The AFC, as people who don't care about uniforms as much as I do may not know, that it alternates year to year which conference gets the choice. This year it's the AFC. And interestingly, the Broncos have decided to eschew the home orange jerseys in favor of all white because they have never won a Super Bowl in the in the orange, right? Yeah, in the orange because they won in the navy.
The navy, the blue, yeah.
So they're going all white, a la the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And every virginal bride. So,
yeah.
What do we make of that choice? Is that a savvy move?
Nah, that's too superstitious.
too superstitious?
Yeah, like
You did it in Super Bowl.
I didn't know.
In Super Bowl 40, you weren't consulted by Coach Cowher.
No.
When you guys were the Road Warriors as the 6th seed, you guys decided, well, we've been wearing the white jerseys during this playoff run. Let's stick with it in Super Bowl 40.
We wouldn't have cared.
Players don't even pay attention to that.
I don't believe that that's true.
I don't care.
I think some players don't pay attention to that. I think some players
Yeah,
are
I don't.
superstitious.
You had no superstitions before a game?
You strike
you'd
me
be
as somebody who would
surprised
totally have a
for-
bunch.
For mine.
You're from the Bayou. I would think that voodoo is burned into your DNA.
You'd be surprised what I did before the games. You'd be very surprised.
Let's get into it. Let's get
Illuminate
into
us.
it. Yeah,
What happened
come
before
on.
the games? You needed what you needed.
I released.
You released.
Maurice, superstitions?
No, I just always wanted to look good. So I know in Jacksonville we had
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, pretty much. We wanted to have the all blacks. So that was kind of the uniform that we chose, was all black for a while. I mean, when we went to our playoff run, it didn't matter what we wore because I wasn't going to change anything. you're the road team, you just got to go on the road and handle your business.
By that. I'm very disappointed.
You
by
wanted
that
more out of.
response.
You wanted more out of the superstition. I
would like to think you care. I mean, that is a part of pro football lore. The Philadelphia Eagles in 1980 made the Cowboys go with the royal blue in Philly. They went with the white to put a pox on the Cowboys, and it worked.
Yeah, it did work.
Sklars, how say you? Any pre-show rituals?
What we'll do is we'll wear each other's clothes for about 5 minutes, and then we switch it back. Yeah, that's just a pre-show thing we like to do.
Why y'all do that?
Underwear too,
No.
or-
We can't dress in the same genre. Yeah, if I was wearing like a button down that had stripes like he had right there, and
One of us would have to go home and change or die. One of us would have to die.
Somebody has to
That's
go.
serious.
Someone has to go.
someone has to go. I mean,
Why,
it can't,
but I thought that would be like funny for your routine for you guys to dress the same and you take your glasses off.
thereby confirming that you know nothing of comedy.
Yeah. That's not funny to dress alike.
That was so harsh.
No,
that
man.
was like
No, but I love that you think that we need
He stabbed you with a
clothing
butter
to
knife.
buttress our comedy.
Well, no, and then that's what they're essentially saying about the football. Is that
exactly.
it doesn't matter what you're wearing. You got to
Doesn't
bring the
matter.
goods. So
it.
for us, if it's all about dressing the same, we used to dress the same when we started off in comedy, and that was one of the biggest mistakes we ever made.
Is that true? Did you?
Very beginning.
Was that
25
your
years ago.
mom's call? Does that date back to
No, our parents
childhood?
did not want us to go into comedy. They were like, go to law school, do something other than this.
But it
unpredictable
does
thing.
seem like I've always felt that twins get a raw deal because their parents make them dress the same, and it's a weird move to do that to your
I can't
kids.
stand. Yeah, to me, it seems like they miss the point. Like, can't
Right.
people see that they look alike? You now have to. It also is kind
It's
of
like gilding the lily. It's like
And
too much, like the joke on the joke that doesn't work.
also like you're kind of saying that people out there are stupid.
Yeah.
That people out there can't tell that your two kids look alike.
Right.
No, we're going to have to dress them alike so that everybody from like 500 yards can
Enforcing the notion that you're not distinct and individual people, you are a pair or not at all.
It is like saying a joke and then afterwards over and over saying, get it, get it, get it, get it.
These guys
Get
tell
it?
jokes, and I know that Maurice and Ike, you enjoy their comedy. Maurice, I'm going to start with you. Who's funnier, Randy or Jason?
And be honest.
I don't know because I haven't heard their jokes yet. Tell a joke, and you have your joke. What's your go-to
You're
joke?
going to do a
I
bit
don't
right
know if
now?
I have a go-to
What's your
joke.
go-to? Everyone has a go-to when you're in the
We work
crunch time.
together, man. We're a team. We're
No,
a
right
team.
now you're not a team. We split
Yes.
apart.
Maurice, isn't that? I mean, that's a little bit like somebody saying, like, "Hey, run a 40-yard dash for me right now."
No, it's just like, what's your go-to move? And I'd be like, oh, it's this, and then
What is
dead
your
leg.
go-to move? Show us your go-to move.
It's just simple.
If you're
It's a-
going to
it's a
ask
1,
for them to
2,
do a bit,
and then I let them hit this leg, and this has all the powers on this one, so I just spin out the way. Works every time.
Works every time.
Every time.
That's my go-to joke, too. That's what's amazing. That exact move.
Weird.
Go-to.
That gets laughs.
Yeah, it always gets a laugh.
And then you run around. I don't know. It's less. Our comedy's less about like
Hard
yeah, we have
jokes.
some hard
We
jokes
change
in there.
stuff. We change stuff around.
You gotta have a joke. You're a comedian. You're
mean,
funny.
We have
people.
We have newest jokes, new jokes in our act. We just found out that Bruce Jenner is going to star in the new Transformers movie.
Amazing.
That's a good one. What about you?
I like
that one.
And he'll
I
tag
like
it.
that one.
And he'll
I'll
tag it.
tag that joke with he does know how to use his car as a weapon. So
So
there
he's
you
already
go.
won.
We're tagging that on the other side.
They just took a look
so
at each
I-
other
I
like
have
an
to-
old married
I have-
couple. Like we need
Was
to
that
leave.
good? Was
yeah.
that?
Are we? Did
So
we like
I-
it?
Did we
I'm
like
gonna have
that
to
one,
go with-
hon?
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh,
Pharrell.
really?
Well, also his name is Pharrell too.
Thank
so
you.
true.
I appreciate that. I
happens.
appreciate that. You know,
What do you guys think would be better? Who would fare better if you guys switched professions? Would Ike and Maurice be better as stand-up comedians, or would the Sklars be better football players?
No, we would have to change.
Will we have the same bodies that we have now?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
we would just be who we are.
Yeah,
in each
you're
other's
you
team.
now. You're a running back and you're a cornerback.
Stand up will have to change for us. I feel like me and MJD got to be more like on the street comedy,
You mean like up close magic?
something like that.
Don't you love it when
like the
people see up
steel
close
guy.
magic and they just like see
Yeah,
a card trick or
the-
something happen and they just run?
I feel like the stand up comedy is kind of hard.
Yeah,
Stand-up
stand-up
comedy.
comedy
I
is.
Well, I will say this. Let me just say this about comedy. Comedy feels more doable than football. Like I watch people play football and I'm like, what that guy did, I can't do. Like his body just did something that I physically can't do. Stand-up
What
comedy is
Gronk
just
did in the end zone to come back and get that ball
you
this
guys
past
could
weekend, I
if
was
you
like,
train like that though. Like the same way you guys practice because your routine
But
is.
still, there are physical limitations.
we're athletes too. I mean, we played sports in high
I mean,
school.
obviously,
whatnot.
we're athletes.
Obviously.
But
I don't have to tell you that.
There are things that I can't do. Like I can't, after I score a touchdown, jump up and dunk.
Me either.
I can't even come close to that. There are things I can't do.
You know what you
Stand-up
do?
comedy is just talking. We all do it, but it's deceptive because there's a lot that goes on that you don't realize, and people see it. If they see it, it
Everyone
looks easy.
thinks you're supposed to be able to dunk. See, me, I just shoot a free throw.
That's right.
It's just simple.
That's smarter. That's the comedy.
That's the comedy. There you go.
But stand-up comedy, y'all have to have people's undivided attention for a while.
Long time. We do it for an hour.
Which is hard.
It's really hard.
It's
And you
extraordinarily
have to
hard.
practice a routine, right?
And there's a lot of, you sort of weaving something out of nothing. And especially if you start with an audience that doesn't know who you are. You have to let them trust you that you're going to be funny and you're going to carry them on this journey for the next hour. And then you're standing up there and you're like, you have to keep their attention.
You know what, though? Let's make this happen for real. First order of business, Maurice and Ike up on the stage.
I love it.
We'll work with you guys. We'll work with you guys.
But then let's make sure, maybe it'll have to wait till August, but let's get to a training camp and get the Sklars in there. And see what
I'll do the
happens that way.
combine. I'll run through the combine.
You run the 40, you can race Rich.
That'd be great.
That'd be hilarious.
Combine would be good.
Well, Shek, you're supposed to race Rich. At the combine.
Well, I mean, I had a really, it was my 9 years in the league were mostly positive. I had mostly really good experiences.
You can
with that.
run. You can beat Rich.
Oh yeah. I can do that. But more importantly, you know what I got. You know what this is about.
But it's not. We're talking about a 40. It's NFL now
We know what
versus.
this is about.
Yeah.
It's his game day blitz versus game day morning. You are our guy.
Yeah.
Are you?
So I'm representing all of us.
Yes.
Okay.
I think you can do it.
I'm not afraid.
I believe. We just got to work with you. We'll just work with you a little bit. Get you some.
One thing that I'll
striders.
beat Eisen with is the Tom Brady underpants picture. I mean, this is not impressive, but I think it's going to look better than Eisen.
Can you beat Rich in running? His
It's going to
40
be
time.
tight. It's going to be close.
It's going to be tight.
I think he runs around a 6.0, so
6-0. He's
Is
not
that-
making
is that what
it.
it is? Was he 6'0"?
I think
He's like 6'2".
What were you at your height?
4'3".
You're only 4'3" tall.
4.31.
He's different.
4'18".
He's a different speed.
4.18.
That's all-time great.
And I Googled that.
And that's truth.
4.18 is insane.
They think, and Maurice backs this up.
418.
Ike thinks this as well, that Ike at 4.18 could beat Usain Bolt in a foot race, in a 40-yard dash.
But like 4.18 is for us when we grew up is Daryl Green style levels. Okay, everybody when we were
All
young, it's
time.
like Daryl Green could outrun your car. That's what everybody says. Like he could outrun a horse, he could outrun your car. He's so fast. Even at 44 years old, he could outrun all that stuff. Still is fast. Like, what do you think Daryl Green could run today?
4.4.
4.4?
That's insane.
4.1.
That
To
is
me,
insane.
if I was 4.18, if I was 4.18, I would carry that everywhere I went. If I was at the bank and someone was giving me disrespect, I'd be like, "Are you joking? 4.18.
418.
4.18. Get me that deposit slip. 4.18.
I'm a has-been. That's what you got to understand about.
Ike, don't talk that way.
for real.
Hey, we got
That's
to
what you
do
gotta
something real
understand.
quick here. We have to talk in front of Super Bowl 50 here. We got to talk about who we're loving, presented by McDonald's. I'll lead the way here. This is an obvious thing, and I'll be the 5 billionth person to point this out, but I'm fascinated by all the discussion of the last 5 years that, the NFL is turning towards the running QB, that you have to have that. And then there's the old guard who says, no, he has to be a pocket passer. And here we are, really 4 or 5 years since Colin Kaepernick and RG3 and Andrew Luck made the scene. And now we have really 18, this old guard guy versus Cam Newton, a revelation. And people are trying to hold him up as, they say, he's just the latest in a Randall Cunningham mold or anything else. We've never seen anything like Cam Newton in the NFL. That's what I love about this Super Bowl above all else. Maurice, what are you loving?
I think for me, we're seeing old school football, and that's something that me and Ike have talked about over the last couple of days. Is you're seeing teams that run the ball and play solid defense. It's not about this high flying passing offense and all these other things. That doesn't win games anymore. And as much as we try to get away from what the core of football and the culture of football and the nucleus of what football is, it always comes back to the beginning. Who runs the ball the best and who can stop the run and play solid defense? Simple as that.
I mean, as a defensive guy, on a team where defense was, in my opinion, the reason you got, obviously love Big Ben, but defense was the reason you guys were in. I look at the Steelers this year going to Denver, having so little and guys banged up and people not in. That defense kept them in that game.
You know who foretold that back in August? Ike Taylor. He said it will be a liability for the first 8 weeks or so, and then you will see that defense emerge.
I mean, defense just wins championships, and we get away from that. So I think just, no disrespect, but to the fantasy, a lot of fantasy guys, fantasy owners, they want to see the points because the guys they have, the Mercedes, the Antonio Browns, the Tom Brady's, they want to see point scores, but just as a football player, you understand, man, it's the basic ingredient.
But doesn't it tighten up in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl? The D tightens up a little bit more.
You're more in tune. Like
Every play.
Like
no one takes the
practice
playoff.
is a regular season game for the Super Bowl. That's how fast practice was moving.
Right.
It's a game. It's a regular season game, but you're at practice during the week. That's how much the intensity.
So you're up here when you
up.
come in.
That's how much the intensity goes up because you don't want to be that guy to let your team down.
Right. That's amazing.
You know what I'm saying? Because you only get one shot, and we talked about it yesterday. Baseball, you get the World Series. Basketball, you get 7 games. Football, it's sniper mode.
I love that these guys point out that the regular season, it's obviously they're professionals and they're trying hard, but January is a shock to the body because guys tune it up and start hitting way harder, and rookies are stunned by it.
In games.
I went to the playoffs once, and the one time we went, we didn't even wear pads in practice because it was like I could already see where this is going.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna play fast, and we'll be fresh for all these games.
You didn't want anyone to get hurt leading into
On the
ramp
way,
up
'cause you know people are hitting
That's a
hard
huge
again.
liability.
It was like a graveyard full of zombies walking into a practice. Everybody was focused.
Yeah.
Well, nobody saying nothing.
No
like-
goofing around, no joking around.
Nah, you goofed around, but as soon as you cross that white line, it's like, psh.
Yeah,
I cannot
Walking Dead.
imagine that, like you said, that the thing that would plague me from the moment I realized my team is in the Super Bowl is the thought, I better not be the guy who ruins
Yeah.
this. I better not be the guy who
You
blows
didn't want to
out.
be that guy.
Well, how do you get over that?
It's a game-changing event. Like I tell people all the time, I wouldn't be sitting up here if I didn't win 2 Super Bowls. I mean, let's for real.
Maurice is sitting here. He didn't win any Super Bowls.
But Maurice
I
was
don't
a
know
first
how
round.
that-
He was
I'm
a first
sorry.
round. He was a first-round draft pick.
He really was.
And if he would have played it probably a year or two, he probably would have been in the Hall of Fame.
That's right. One more year for Maurice, Hall of Fame
80
jacket.
100 some yards.
and
in
a
rushing.
beloved human being. Let's talk
Just
about
a-
like
just
let's
a
talk about him like
sweetheart.
he's dead.
You know what I'm
He
saying?
was a great
When he was
guy.
alive, I loved
May he
everything
rest
he
in
did.
peace. May he
I
rest
wish he
in
were
peace.
here.
He's very knowledgeable of football, but
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I'm here, man. Because people want to know, like, in
What
order
was
for
it
you to
like?
go to 3 and win 2, what did you do? And the dedication, the hard work. When my homeboys was partying, I was working out.
Yep.
In college, man, when everybody was drinking and smoking, I was working out.
Well, that
And
was really a function of the fact that you didn't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So,
No.
I mean, you
I
weren't
had a-
partying because.
No,
I had a ton of friends, but that's the dedication part
Yep.
to
Of
it.
course.
You know
of
what
course.
I'm saying? So it's like all out. I'm 10 toes in. I'm not 9, I'm not 7. I'm 10 toes in whatever I do. And people want to they want to see why and what caused you to do that. I mean, I still work out to this day.
By the way, but you guys have that attitude here around NFL now and
Yeah.
what you guys do around here. We are super impressed by both of you and how your work ethic. You bring what you had there, you bring it into here, and I think that's why you guys are both good.
It was family orientated. I know with Pittsburgh, everything was family. And Coach T pet peeve was when you come into the facility after practice, make sure your shoes are clean. Because the janitor, even though he's the janitor, he shouldn't be cleaning up after a grown man. That was a pet peeve of Coach T. And make sure you say good morning. Make sure you treat everybody in cafeteria with respect. That was a pet peeve of Coach T.
good.
So once you have that, it's like
teaching you guys how to be men.
everybody's the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I'm always fascinated by those stories. By the way, did you tell Coach Tomlin, because obviously there are a lot of guys in that locker room when Tomlin gets to his first Super Bowl, did you tell him what the score is? Here's how you approach the week, or did he lead the way again?
He already knew because he won one with Tampa.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
That's
He
right.
won one with Tampa, so
he
he
knows.
kind of he
knows.
kind of already knew. I mean, he has a couple of guys, Casey Hampton. He has a few guys, James Ferrier. He has a few guys. What do y'all want to do throughout the week? But for the most part, man, matter of fact, it was in Tampa, and he already knew. Just winning a Super Bowl with Tampa coaching staff, he already knew what time it was, man. So Coach T, that was good. He had that on his resume, so he kind of understood what to do throughout the week. But he already had veteran guys anyway. So this was our second time going. So we knew. Your majority of your team was the second time going, so you really didn't have to say much. All you had to do was tell your veteran guys and let the other guys police.
Well, all right, so does that make a difference looking at this game? This Carolina team, there aren't a lot of guys who were there. Denver was there a couple years.
Ron Rivera won the
was
Super
there,
Bowl,
right.
coached in the Super Bowl.
So there's that.
And he is the personality of this team.
And you know what they say
No
about
question.
Cam Newton? They say, he's so young, he's such a new professional, and I say...
But he won a national championship. And
he was a professional at Auburn when he got paid to play at Auburn. He was a
great
professional there.
right?
And so he's a
made a lot of
professional
money.
now.
No.
I'm kidding.
The stage isn't
Yeah.
too big for Cam.
He can handle
Yeah,
it.
he can handle any kind of stage.
Well, I think the biggest thing, Cam said something in an interview before the championship game. He was like, I worked too hard to bottle my emotions. And what people fail to realize, football is an emotional game. It's a game about controlled aggression or controlled excitement. So you don't want to get too high, but when the time to get high, you got to get up there and you got to bring it back a little bit.
Right.
As I always say, people who want to come down on Cam for celebrating and showing joy for doing his job well, if you bemoan him doing that, you are to the right of Bill Belichick on that issue. He says you should be allowed. It's hard to play football well. Go ahead and show joy.
It's
If
fun.
you're to the right of Belichick on something.
But it's fun. I'm a big proponent of,
Sure.
I wish Major League Baseball, you watch in the Korean leagues, the Korean bat flips are just the most fun things you've ever seen in your entire life. You watch that and you're like, that is fun. And of course, to tamp that down, you guys work so hard and have so much
fun.
into it.
You just did something.
That's just like trying to tamp down the handshakes in baseball. When guys sitting in the dugout and come up with these awesome handshakes.
Yes!
You like watching that.
It is fun.
To Cam's defense, I'm like, Cam, just stop me. If you don't want me doing my dance moves,
I thought it was cool that Barry Sanders,
great.
the old act like you've been there before, that was cool, but that was his move.
Yeah, that was
the idea
his
that you shouldn't be an individual is loco. Ron Rivera reminds me, I think it's striking that Ron Rivera and Gary Kubiak, two very different human beings, have the exact same hairdo.
No, Gary Kubiak's hair is, his face looks like one of
Somebody jumping out the...
like a Muppet of they got the hair
he got
kind of
the
coming.
Muppet hair?
It's got the Muppet hair.
It's like
kinda
somebody
coming.
jumping off the plane and forgot his parachute and the skin just pulling his face back.
Right, or
G-force.
Doug Collins, the
Yes.
basketball coach. If someone pulled his face
Yes.
back like that, it kind of looks like
It does have a stretched quality to it. Yeah, you're right
And
about
Ron
that.
Rivera looks like every cop who's ever pulled me over.
Yeah.
What is better, Cam Newton and Peyton Manning, two other very different human beings, like we say, one, round about 40, the other a young man in his professional prime. What's better about being older, being Peyton Manning in this situation?
I think if you go down in the game or if something happens and you don't have, something happens and there's adversity, because you think about the playoff games that the Panthers have dealt with. They went way out ahead and then the other team came back, but they stayed ahead. They went way out ahead and then the other team came back little and then they went out ahead again. So if by some chance, the Broncos go up, 14-0, 17-0, the question is, how are they going to respond? We don't know. If they go down, if it happens like it happened in the first two playoff games for Carolina, I think Peyton will be calm and he'll say, we can do this. He's got that. I've been there before. I know.
I think it's going to be a blowout. And as much as I love Denver, and I would love to see Peyton Manning win this Super Bowl and then retire right there on the spot and just say, because to me, I think he's great for the game. I think he goes, everybody as fans wants to see people go down as we saw one of the best of all time. I feel that way about LeBron in basketball.
That's right.
I feel
You
that
wanna
way about.
be in the moment.
I think it's like generational pride. We all want to be like, we had the guy who was the best
That's right.
guy.
That's exactly right. That's what fans are looking for.
So, Peyton having gone to 4 Super Bowls, if he wins this second one, and I personally believe that Cam Newton he's 26, over the course of the next 4 or 5 years, he'll be at 2 or 3 more Super Bowls. This is a great team with a great coach, very focused. If he doesn't win this year, I don't feel as bad for Cam because I know that he'll be back. I feel like this is it for Peyton, one way or the other. So that's, in my own personal thing, I'm pulling for that, but I just do not see how that, Cam Newton is the reason that team is going to be great. Peyton, in where he is right now with his health and whatnot, he isn't the reason.
Right.
It's the defense and it's the running game, as you guys pointed out before. So if they win, it's not going to be because Peyton has a 380-yard game.
No, it'll be Von Miller with 3 sacks and interceptions.
It's the pressure, and it's the pressure coming from his family. I mean, if you saw Archie in that box, man,
he couldn't even look.
Yeah, you saw how tense that pressure was for his son. Man, I already got my youngest son. My youngest son's stats in Eli, man, not even close to Peyton's, but he got 2 chips.
Got 2 chips.
You know what I'm saying? So Peyton can talk all the talk you want to talk, Hall of Fame, but young bro be like, hey, I got 2.
It is, when people want to, it's somewhere in between. It's not an absolute neither way. Well, Peyton obviously is the field general, and you have to plan for him in the week in advance of a game. Eli has those trophies. Yeah, they play the season to completion and give the Lombardi Trophy to one team every year for a reason. When people say it doesn't matter if you win championships, it's a team sport. Yeah, they also pay the quarterback way more than they pay the third wide receiver because it's more on his shoulders. So the QB's ring count does matter.
But I would say if I were to put these up again and you tell me, who is a better quarterback, Dan Marino or Eli Manning, when all is said and done? Who is a better quarterback, Dan Marino or Eli Manning? I think most people would say Dan Marino was a better quarterback. He didn't win the championship. He didn't do it.
I wouldn't say that.
You wouldn't say that?
Because I remember watching the game, and I wasn't, when the Jags beat him. I mean, he was in a situation where he had a chance at the end, and the Jags beat him 62-7 or something that. Like, for me, a quarterback, it's not about it's about that one moment you have, right? So you have guys like Eli who. The reason the Giants won is because he got hot in the playoffs.
He did get hot.
What about Jim Kelly? What about Jim Kelly? That's a guy who's a phenomenal all-time.
But I think he went to 4 Super Bowls. I mean, he made plays when they needed to. They just ran to the Cowboys a couple times, who had a quarterback that was.
Or he led them down the field in the position to win, and your kicker didn't finish it off. If the kicker finishes it off, then you're the hero.
That's why it's new. That's exactly right. The Bills would be regarded completely differently if Scott Norwood makes that kick. There would be no.
By the way, Jim Kelly would be regarded differently.
To that end, Kurt Warner we're sitting here saying, is he going to make it into the Hall of Fame?
Oh no, he's going to go. You know why he's going to go?
But he should, again, the Rams, as St. Louis guys, the Rams should have won that Super Bowl against the Patriots. The first one that the Patriots won. Should have.
But the reason Kurt's going to go, and we had this discussion, I want to say, with Marshall Falk about it in the green room, and he was telling me about quarterbacks. And I'm like, dude, you play with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, right? And I was like, you got to understand, like, it's different when you don't have a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Trent Green. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right, exactly. But you got to remember that St. Louis Rams team, they had 5 Hall of Famers.
Bruce,
Pace.
Falk behind them, right?
Yeah, you had a ton of people there, weapons all over, so it helps. It makes the quarterback's job easier.
Well, but again, that's why I say it's nuanced. Obviously, yes, Chip Kelly is better than Brad Johnson, and Brad Johnson has, as I said, Trent Dilfer, and so on.
There's Trent Dilfer.
Yes.
Trent Dilfer. I could have played quarterback on that team. He turned around and handed the ball off.
But the ring count does
times.
matter, and as far as that goes, guys like Lynn Swann are not in the Hall of Fame if he doesn't make an iconic catch in Super Bowl X. The Super Bowl result does matter whether people want to sign off on that or not. Hey, you mentioned the St. Louis Rams. I don't know if you heard the news.
What's that?
L.A. Rams now.
Oh, they're the LA Rams now.
What is where do you come down morally as parents
just finding
now?
out right
Shek,
now.
before that even goes, we had your boy Nickel brought a Ram here.
Yeah. Oh, we knew.
Okay, I'm about to say.
We're deniers.
Don't deny it, because they're back home.
Maurice tried to deny a nice greeting with the Rams.
Listen,
We're
very rude.
We're Ram birthers. Where was that Ram from? Huh? Show me a birth certificate.
No,
that Ram was a wild animal.
You did right.
You didn't like
they
it.
wanted to bring the Ram in here.
Maurice couldn't even get. I mean, this is essentially a rookie. Maurice, you went.
No, it's not a rookie.
One day you were drafted by UCLA on one side of the country. You got on a plane. You flew across the country. You walked in there as a young man into the Jacksonville locker room. I'm sure people went out and extended a hand to you and said, "Welcome,
We
sir."
can speak the
and
same
instead,
language,
you didn't
Shek.
do that to the Ram. That was a weird move by
Shek,
you.
a Ram is an untamed
Dangerous
animal, right? So you watch National Geographic.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah, that's when they see
hours.
another Ram.
By the way, the
I
Ram.
don't want him to relapse.
Okay.
I don't want him to think I'm around.
He might see something that he don't like and just start to ram and everything. I wouldn't
He
go
might
in
think
the room
I'm a
with that.
relapse.
But could we? I know Ram. He was pretty diminutive, but is there a more football-oriented animal than a Ram? I mean, what the Ram does is essentially
It's
football.
like every play, the offensive and
weird.
defensive line.
I really do think if LA wanted to reposition itself, give it a rebranding, The beast that has not been used is the rhino, and it has a double meaning in Los Angeles too, because so many of rhinoplasty.
A lot of people.
Real quick, before we finish up here, regarding the Rams, you're parents of young kids. Is it morally wrong to try and keep them from rooting for the local team here? Will you let them be Rams fans? Because now you're St. Louis residents.
Yeah.
Now that team scorned you.
Right. I mean, a few teams scorned us.
I mean,
Yeah, true.
They're LA residents.
We're LA residents. We're originally from St. Louis. Yeah, you know what?
You guys stole the LA Rams beforehand. They just came back home. What's the issue?
To me, I said that it felt like watching someone steal the dog that you rescued, and that someone turned out to be the person you rescued him from. That's what it felt like when the Rams were going back.
Honestly, Shek, I lament
You guys rescued the LA Rams. What you're telling me?
I lament the fact that there is no longer professional football in St. Louis. And I'll say this:
it's a football town, though. It's a hockey and baseball.
No, it is a football town because it can be. When the Rams were good and Kurt Warner when they were playing,
they were selling tickets for $2, and people still weren't showing up.
No.
It's a Cardinals town.
I agree that it's a Cardinals town, but I think people supported that, and I don't know if an NBA franchise could be there. I don't know if they'd support an NBA
franchise. Y'all got the best
franchise.
of both worlds. Y'all stayed in St. Louis, got a little piece of the St. Louis Rams.
I know.
Y'all moved to LA. Now you get.
If they
You guys are being greedy now.
No. I will let my kids support the Rams. I would let my son.
It's a very tough spot if you're from St. Louis as the parent.
I just don't like to see a professional sports team leave the city that we grew up in that I feel like needs that other leg of the thing. So if the Raiders were to come back down here,
I'm going to be an East LA Raiders fan to the day I go.
Right? So listen. So
I'm going to get it tatted on me.
If the Raiders So if the Raiders come down here and you're a kid in the Bay, East Bay or wherever, growing up right now, you're a baby and you grow up, you could be grow up as a 49ers fan and drive however you want to go down to Levi Stadium,
40 minutes down
an hour down to Levi Stadium and watch a professional football team play in your area. If you're a St. Louis kid right now, you either have to go to Kansas City or Indianapolis or up to
Kansas City
Chicago.
down the street.
5 hours away.
No,
It's like,
you know
that's
what?
the same thing
People's hearts aren't as fickle as yours,
people
Maurice.
drive
They're
from
trying to be
LA.
loyal. He roots for the
Shek.
Warriors and the Spurs. Same
Okay.
conference.
I know.
Let me tell you
Who
something.
were you rooting for last night?
Piss.
The
120
Warriors.
to
I'm a
90.
Warriors all the time.
All the way, Warriors.
All the way,
and the
Warriors.
Spurs.
You're gonna drop the
I wonder how much that
I was gonna
answer
say
might have
this.
changed
I
as the result changed.
actually sat and talked to some people from Oakland one of the games. I drove up early, and these people drive up in the middle of the night from L.A., San Diego, all over to go to Oakland.
So if they came down here,
I think it would be the same. I think people would drive down because it's not about this. To me, it's more about the team and who you've been able to like.
I identify
with, right?
I identify the Raiders with LA. I know they're Oakland, and I know as kids we grew up and watched Kenny Stabler and Cliff Branch and Dave Casper. We watched those guys, and it was amazing being in the Midwest. We would catch those games, those late games, just being there on like a.
And it's still kind of sunny out, and and it's dark where we are, and we're watching.
What is this exotic land where the sun shines? It was always fun.
But I will say now it's easier to follow your team when you're not there because of all the ways to watch.
The Raiders, being an LA Raiders fan is weird because they basically had the Oakland Raiders had an affair with a fair-haired beauty down in Southern California and then ran back to the old ball and chain. That's a weird one. All right, you know what? It's time to go. But as you can see, we're headed up to Santa Clara / San Francisco, and I hope you get the sense that we're going to have a good time all next week. Make sure you're tuned in to NFL Now and Beyond. The Sklar Brothers will be there. Maurice Jones-Drew will be there. Ike Taylor will be there. The time shall be gay. I hope you will join us. In the meantime, thanks so much, football fans. It's been a thin slice of heaven.
The Dave Dameshek Football Program. Available on iTunes and at davedameshek.nfl.com.